Greetings. We continue today in part 2 of the sounding of the sixth seal from Revelation chapter number 9. We were talking about the 4 messengers that have been released from the river Euphrates. And the 4 messengers, they were being released. That's an aorist passive indicative. It says the ones having been prepared and remaining prepared. The purpose of their preparation and their present release is to kill the third part of the men. The 4 measures of time joined by the conjunction and with the article, according to Granville Sharp's rule of grammar, applies to all 4 measures of time. Thus, this string suggests a time limitation, which either must be they waited for this period of time to begin killing, or it's telling us the period of time which they will be killing. And while the first is possible, the second is more probable in this context. We have just had a period of 5 months without any deaths, torments, death wished but not accomplished. Now in the next year, month, day, and hour, 1/3 of the world population will die. But let me hasten to say, debate over the time frame is not as important as the results. The results of this action is that 1/3 of the men upon the earth will die. Verse 16 of Revelation 9 literally says, and the number of the soldiers of the cavalry, 200 million. I heard the number of them. Verse 17 continues, and in this manner I saw the horses in the face, and the one sitting upon them having red and blue and yellow breastplates, and the heads of the horses just as heads of lions, and out of the mouths of them fire and smoke and brimstone is coming out. By agency of these 3, the fire, the smoke, the brimstone, the third part of the men were being killed. And he spells it out again, by means of the fire, and by means of the smoke, and by means of the brimstone, the one coming itself out of their particular mouth. And their particular authoritative power, that is the horses. In their particular mouths, they're having tails, being like to a snake. They're having heads, and in them they are harming. Now, the number of the horsemen, a variant of the Greek noun for horse is used as a substantive adjective that designates a cavalry as opposed to infantry. That's according to Dr. Robinson in Volume 6, page 367. And he also notes that this is the only New Testament use of this variant word. The largest numeral of the Greek language was 10,000. So John is inspired to use it in what we call a word problem in math today to express the number of the horsemen which he heard, not saw. The Greek word is myrias, or myriad, as we use the variant in our language, was the equivalent to 10,000, which was the largest numeral that they wrote down. When it is plural with the genitive compound, it is an expression of infinitude. But here, it seems to be used specifically when it says 2 myriads of myriads. And as this word problem works out, it means 2 times 10,000 times 10,000. And that translates to 200 million. Now, 200 million pennies would make $2 million. 200 million horsemen, as has been noted, would make a cavalry 1 mile wide and 87 miles long. In some perspective, we lived in Florida for quite a while, and we lived in Deltona. And if you would take Interstate 4 to the east-northeast and then I-95 northward toward Jacksonville from Deltona, that distance was about 90 miles. And we would look at the right-of-way of 800 feet wide, then a mile is roughly 6.5 times that. So I want you to get that in your mind. You take your average interstate right away, you multiply it 6.5 times that wide, and begin at Deltona and go all the way to Jacksonville, all to be occupied with these horsemen. Now, I affectionately referred to I-4 as that parking lot that they call Interstate 4 when we lived in the area. And if we got 2 or 3 lanes of traffic backed up for a couple of miles, we thought that that was a great traffic jam. But if you begin to comprehend horsemen 6.5 times wide, all the way from Deltona to Jacksonville, that particular moving army would be quite a sight. Then we'll notice the nature of the horsemen. John says that he saw the horses and the one sitting upon them in the face. 3 colors of breastplates are given: fiery red, smoky blue, and sulfur yellow. Having breastplates can apply to both the horse and the horseman. Some take the breastplates to be tricolored, while others indicate that some had red and some had blue and some had yellow. The distinctions of 3 kinds of blows or plagues in the beginning of verse 18 seems to make the latter view the more plausible, that one bringing one plague had the red, another bringing another kind of plague had blue, another bringing another kind of plague had yellow. The heads of these horses John perceived to have the ferocity of a lion. Fire, smoke, and brimstone, it is coming out of the mouths of the horses. The stripe, the wound, the calamity or plague that causes the death of the third of mankind are these 3 blows issuing from the mouths of the horses and the horsemen riding them.